Hello friends and my dear students. After performing the conditions in Python, I am going to discuss how to apply repetitions, rather loops. So we are going to learn loops in Python. So without wasting time in discussion, we are moving to our presentation. After that, we'll move to Python ideally. So what is the loop and what is the repetition? So we are going to discuss this with example. So repetition of a statement or a set of statements, finite or infinite, number of times is known as a loop. We can also use the term terminating loop for the loop, which allows a statement or statements to execute finite number of times, and non-terminating loops or loop which allows a statement or statements to execute infinite number of times. So there may be two kinds of loop you may see in Python. That is, one is finite loop and other is infinite loop. So infinite loop maybe accidentally uh, falls into the infinite condition, whereas the finite loop deliberately we make a condition to repeat the segment a finite number of times. For example, happening of morning, then noon, then evening, then night, and again without termination is an example of non-terminating loop. Okay, so which is infinite, the loop which runs infinite times is known as non-terminating loop. Like morning, then after 2 hours, this is noon, and after 2-3 hours, this is evening, and after 2-3 hours, this is night, and after 4 or 5 hours, it becomes morning again, then morning to noon, noon to evening, evening to night, and night to again morning. So this is the infinite situation, because every morning we see this is a morning, then after 2 or 3 hours we feel this is noon, after 11 or uh, 11:30 a.m. it is noon, and after 3-4 hours it turns to evening, and after 3-4 hours it turns to night, and after 3-4-5 hours it turns to morning. So this is your infinite loop. Second example, digging a 10 feet deep hole by a laborer. So first dig, because you have to dig 10 feet. Laborer has to dig a hole 10 feet long, and that is why first it digs, then it measures whether it is 10 feet long or not. Then if this is 10 feet, then it stops. Otherwise, if this is not 10 feet, then it will process the same system again. Dig, measure, then check 10 feet, yes or no. If no, then again dig, measure, check whether 10 feet or no. If 10 feet, then stop. So this is the concept of repetitions or looping. In programming, we use flowcharts just to demonstrate the looping system. So over here, if you see, start. It's terminal box of flowchart. Then what I do here, assign or initialization of an identifier, which I am going to do here. I am initializing 1 to the identifier n. So n holds 1 initially, and this is the input output loop. And over here, if you say print n, so whatever the value of n or n holds is printed here, and after that n is updated by 1. So increment n is incremented by 1, so n is updated, and after updation of n, it again moves to print n, as this arrow shows that after printing n, it comes to this tab where assignment or process box has taken place, where we are updating the value of n, and that is why we see this is a kind of infinite loop, printing and increasing the value of n, printing, then increasing the value of n. So this is infinite number of times this printing takes place, and again the value of n is incremented by 1. And if you see the program code in Python, so the flowchart, the parallel to this flowchart, this is the Python code where n is initialized to 1, and while true print n. So this is called an infinite loop. N is 1, it is print n, it prints n, then again n is added, 1 is added to n, so new value of n, and this loop goes as long as this loop is true. So print n, then n is equal to n plus 2, so printing integers 1 onwards. So this means this is the loop, and this loop is infinite loop. Whereas the second scene shows get the value of n is equal to int input n. So here n is getting one integer. C is another variable which is being initialized to 1, and this plays while, this is the statement, looping statement, while C is less than equals to n. So repeat these two statements as long as C is less than equals to n. So since C is 1, so when you say print C, so when you print C, it prints 1, and in the next step C is being updated, so C gets 1 plus 1, C is incremented by 1, so C holds 2 now. And what is the value of n? This is the input by the user. So suppose this is say 5. So if 1 is there, so it prints 1, then C becomes 2, then 2 is printed, then C becomes 3, so 3 is less than equals to 5, so 3 is printed, then C is equal to C plus 1, C becomes 4, and 4 is less than equals to 5, so 4 is printed, then C is equal to C plus 1, so 4 plus 1 is 5, and 5 is equals to 5, and that is why it prints the value of C as 5. And next time when C becomes 6, and 6 is not less than equals to 5, and that is why this loop is terminated. So this is your finite loop, whereas this was the infinite loop. So this way loops work, and we have demonstrated, I have demonstrated while loop here. Next, see here, this is the syntax of while loop. While, then condition, followed by the colon. So colon, as soon as you press enter, the cursor follows the indentation. So it comes to, after leaving 2 or 3 spaces, by default 2 spaces from the left margin, the next statement will be written from column number 3. So it shows from column number 3. So every statement which is coming under while will be starting from column number 3. So as many as you statements you want to give under while, you can give on the same indentation. That is, every statement should begin with column number 3. So two spaces are left, and after two spaces, your statement is being written. So every statement which is coming under while loop will be starting from column number 3. And after this, if over here you'll observe that if this condition is true, while the condition is true, then statement 1, statement 2, and up to statement n will be executed and repeated. And as soon as this condition becomes false, the control or the cursor comes to this statement. So over here, when the condition being false, it comes to else. So when the condition is false, then it comes to else statement. So whatever statement is coming under else will be executed. Okay, but this part is optional. Else part is optional. You can use while, condition, and the statements. In that case, when you omit else, when condition becomes false, the control comes to out of the while loop scope. For example, see here. For example, int input n. So I have given the value of n as 3. I have initialized c to 1. So while c less than equals to 3, it will show you the multiple of 2. Okay, so c is 1 and c is less than n is 3. So 2 into 1 it will print 2, and c is equal to c plus 1 means c is incremented by 1. So it becomes 2, and 2 is less than equals to 3, and 2 into 3 it will give, sorry, 2 into 2, because initially it was 1 and so 1 plus 1 is 2. So what, 2 is less than 3. So 2 into 2 is 4. Now c is equal to c plus 1. This becomes 3, and 3 is less than equal to 3. So it will follow these two statements once again, and this time it will print 6. And after this, c is incremented and c becomes 4, and 4 is not less than equals to 3, and that is why it comes out of the loop. And during this loop, the loop has printed a table of 2 into 2, 4, and 6. This is just because of this statement and this statement. So c is increasing one by one, and with whichever value c holds, it is multiplied by 2. So this result will appear on the screen. So it shows all the even numbers because you are multiplying the value of c by 2. So every time we'll get a new even number here. Okay, now printing 5 times of n till n is not assigned as 0. So as soon as you give 0 to n, it breaks. Otherwise, it keeps on printing multiple of 5. For example, if I give n is 3, so if n 0, no. So it will come to 5 into 3 because n was 3. So 5 into 3 is 15. So 15 is here. And next time again it asks for value of n. So if you give say 7, this is the example. So n is not 0. So 5 into 7 is 35. 35 is printed. And next time, since while is true, when you say and if you give n 0 here in this step, I give 0 here. So since this condition is found to be true as n is 0, so it breaks the repetition and comes out of the loop. So this way, this is a finite loop and it will be repeated only 2 times. Why? It will be repeated as long as n is non-zero. So as soon as you give 0 to n, the repetition is broken. Okay, so this way we can use while loop. So let's start, or let's do it in Python. While true and is equal to int enter integer. Input. Doing this. If n is equal to 0, then break, else c is equal to n into 5, print c. So this is the while loop. Let's see. Run. While example 1. So enter integer. I gave 6. So it gives 30. I give 9. It gives 45. And as soon as I give 0, it comes out of the loop. So this way your while loop works. Hope this loop is clear to you. And next program I'm going to take, next example. C is equal to 1. N is equal to int input and limit giving print generating and even numbers. C is 1, enter limit. This time using while c less than equals to n print c into 2, then c is equal to c plus 1. So this is the program. Run this program. I'm saving it with another name. Save as while example 2. So run, generating an even numbers. So I'm giving the value, say 3. It shows 1 into 2 is 2, 2 into 2 is 4, and 3 into 2 is 6. So this way, this while loop gives even numbers of the limit we have entered. So hope you understood the concept of while, and if you understood this concept, kindly share it with your friends and practice it. And if you have not subscribed my channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon to get the notification of the new video as and when it is uploaded. So we'll meet in the next video. Till then, bye bye.